Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to some more CGL Season 13 action. We've got our EU console open tier matchup here. We've got Bliss Legion versus Palworld. I'm joined for this match by the incredible Megalast once again. How you doing?
Doing great, Fletch. Ready to get on into this one. It should be a good match here that we have. You know, both these teams heading into week 3, 1-1. So both trying to sort of edge themselves out, get that positive record going as we get closer and closer to that midseason.
Yeah, I mean, should be a good match. Two very evenly matched up teams here. I mean, Bliss Legion, we've got a little more information, I feel like, about them. I mean, they've got, I don't know, these teams are very, very close right now. I think we're getting ready to go into the match here. We're getting pretty close. We do know what our map pool is going to be. We've got Nepal up first. Here's our Bliss Legion roster. That pig whips, kill the hog on the DPS, Bastion 10 on the tank, and then Daki and Kai bringing it in from the back line. And then for Palworld, we've got I Love Izzy and Inu on the DPS, Alpha on the tank, and Dylan's and Peach 3 on the support.
Yeah, and you know, both these rosters obviously have talent across them. Personally, I'm just going to hope Bliss Legion doesn't actually play Bastion, because then we're going to have to make sure we specify whether it's Bastion the tank or Bastion the actual DPS. But you know, it is going to be super, super interesting. As you said, Fletch, this map pool, we're still in week 3, so it is still set up nice and pretty for us. Starting off on Nepal, and then afterwards we're heading to Kings Row. But really it gets more interesting the further you go down. New Junk City, Colosseo, both very rush-favored, get-in-your-face maps. And then if it's needed, of course, Rialto is looming at that map 5.
Yeah, and Rialto is like... You know, you think of these first 4 maps, and they all kind of play similarly traditionally, but then Rialto is such a switch up compared to the first 4 maps. So, you know, I think it's really interesting if we do get to a map 5, because Rialto can be played in so many ways, because you can kind of run that rush comp style that the other 4 maps really like, but poke is also really strong, and you also get to potentially see dive because of all the high ground on the first couple of points. So I'm really interested to see if we get there. I mean, but both of these teams, you know, they're close enough in skill that we definitely could see a map 5 here.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, obviously, while we hope that these two teams bring their all, you know, one of these teams obviously has to win. And if they can pull away in a dominant fashion, that's going to, you know, fill them with a lot of confidence. You know, we're still, like I said, getting closer and closer to that midseason tournament. You got to get as many wins on the board as you can to make sure you get some good seeding going into that. And overall, it's just going to help you regardless of anything. But starting off on Nepal here, I think the common theming with this entire map set we have is just the simple tempo, right? Like, being able to play any composition at a high enough tempo is going to get you a win on a lot of these maps. You know, even if you slow the game down with poke, that in and of itself is a tempo switch. But seems like we're not hovering any sort of poke at the moment here. Bliss Legion rocking the Orisa in spawn, whereas Palworld are hovering the tried and true Ramatra, it seems. But, you know, depending on what fills out around that Ramatra is where it gets interesting. The Moira means you're going to want to play a lot faster, play a bit more aggressive here, and just hopefully try to build coalescence and things of that nature. But seems like we're having a bit of a pause as Palworld has just decided to not lock in. Maybe, you know, just deciding I will not pick a hero today.
I think somebody spilled Red Bull, so
Ain't no.
yeah, I'm looking at this roster, and I didn't expect to see Smelvin on the roster. That's not to be confused with the breakout team from last season here in the EU Console Open Tier, Smelvin Industries. But yeah, both of these teams kind of running something, you know, Bliss Legion's a little more interesting. Palworld, very, very traditional with their Ramatra Rush comp here, as we got Bliss Legion already on the point with their Reaper Orisa composition. Alpha's going to go ahead and pop this Nemesis form to try and get this fight started, but a wall's going to cut off about half the point for Alpha to try and rotate around. So I Love Izzy trying to put this damage in right now, but Pig whips is going to be able to blow Alpha up here, and some great tracking by Inu to take down Cosmoer, but it's not going to be... Oh, it's actually 2 for 2 here as Smelvin is able to get a hog down. Diem is going to have to pop this gold form to stay alive a little bit longer. Can they take down the Baptiste in the backline? Axar is so low and had to get out, and Diametric was punished because of it. And just like that, Palworld ripped the fight win out of the hands of Bliss Legion.
Yeah, Bliss Legion walks away with 20% there, but Palworld, you know, you talked about it. This comp is pretty standard, but the obvious thing being the Moira. You're going to be able to play a lot faster, but the issue being, of course, that your healing resources are limited, so that's why you're playing at such a higher tempo. You have to win these fights outright. You can't let them get dragged out, but now you're seeing this Coalescence as well as this Sound Barrier online. Palworld should be in a good position to take this.
Here we go, Amp Matrix ready to go, but Axar has to back out and force out the Immortality Field, and the Amp Matrix cannot keep Diametricals alive here, and Palworld, that is the go button with the death of the Orisa. They used Coalescence and the Overclock, but they were able to force out the Amp Matrix.
Yes, indeed, a 2-for-1 and the fight win is obviously good enough for Palworld here, but Bliss Legion, they're now building into a plethora of stuff themselves here. As you're seeing Axar switch over to the Moira now, also trying to up that tempo, but the question now becomes the Orisa, right? You don't have the same survivability as the Ramatra. You can't just cross your arms. It's all in your Fortify for trying to help you sustain through these long fights, and getting into a position for this Terra Surge is going to be rough. You're seeing how low Ichi is already.
Oh my goodness, Diametrical's just taking infinite amounts of damage and just cannot stop it from coming. Kill the Hog has this overclock ready to go, and Palworld right now just trying to kite around this this wall from I Love Izzy, but I mean, it's just a little too obvious what Pig Whips wanted, and Smelvin is able to take down Diametricals. They knew the Pig Whips wanted the Death Blossom, and I mean, the Wraith in was just the nail, right? They booped Reaper away and dropped the Sound Barrier and put the period on the round.
And what makes that such a great play from Palworld is that fight for Bliss Legion started somewhere around 60% capture progress, right? You'd normally think if you go in, you lose a fight quickly, you'll have time for another one or at least some sort of contest. But they just simply dragged that out without Bliss Legion ever getting any sort of footing. And Palworld was more than happy to let that clock run longer and longer, knowing that it meant they just had to win one fight to win that point. Now showing off just kind of how good they are, Bliss Legion is going to switch over to the Ramatra themselves, but with a bit of a different take on it, with the Sombra in tow. I don't know if this is specifically to try to mitigate the value the Symmetra has been getting with the turrets or something like that, but Sombra's always an interesting pick when it comes out, because she still feels like such a solo agent.
Okay, so Palworld was doing a lot of switching in the spawn, and I was kind of, you know, throwing my head to the side, wondering what they're doing, but nah, they're just going to keep it very, very the same here, going into map number 2 here. Bliss Legion, the one, yeah, like you said, doing a lot of the changing, and Alpha is just walking in, unbothered by the fact that everybody from the side of Bliss Legion is in there, and Diametricals is just gonna do the same, walk right past Alpha and pummel down everybody on the side of Palworld and kill the Hog, going to be able to do a lot of that damage and take down Peach, and they're gonna get this first flip.
Yeah, and Alpha being, you know, it's great to walk forward there and be aggressive like that, but when the rest of your team isn't ready to do it with you, it creates sort of a problem where your healers have to split focus. Sombra being found out of invis there by the Hellfire shotguns, but now onto the Reaper is going to be super, super interesting to see how they want to approach this, again with the Sombra just constantly being a threat in the backline.
Maybe, hopefully, I Love Izzy is going to be the one that keeps the Reaper in check, but the hands aren't enough for Diametricals, and Alpha is able to take down the enemy Ramatra. Now you see Izzy back there, very, very low HP, but gonna get healed up by Peach and Smelvin, and the Sombra for Kill the Hog not able to get out alive.
Yeah, and it's always sort of the ebb and flow of Sombra, right? You have to be in the position at the right time every single time. Otherwise, your team is basically fighting down a player because you're not there to sort of pepper in damage or at least hack a crucial target. So it's super crucial that they make sure they link up here. Otherwise, this Sombra's going to get no value and Bliss Legion is going to get stomped on.
And now cutoff is going to be Pig Whips. They see that the Sojourn is not with the team, and they're able to get the pick. Luckily for Bliss Legion, it's going to be a trade. They're able to take down Smelvin, so they're out a lot of healing, and Smelvin's actually going to go ahead and switch over to a Baptiste as Alpha gets burned down. This fight is taking forever, and Bliss Legion is in the lead, but they're not on the point finally. Kill the Hog is going to throw themselves over onto the point, but Inu with 2! Inu with 3 on the overclock to save the point that Bliss Legion very easily could have had significantly earlier.
They definitely could have had that point. They had the picks going in their favor, but just a massive overclock from Inu sort of being the hero of that one. Bliss Legion, they've got to make something connect with these ultimates, though. They have a lot to their name. This Ramatra Annihilation, this EMP, any of them alone should be enough, but comboed in tandem, it should just be the icing on the cake to get a fight win here.
Here we go. Kill the Hog wants this EMP to go, and they're going to hit 4. Death Blossom from Izzy is colossal. 2 ripped down by the Reaper, and Palworld follows up. The EMP was big. The Death Blossom even bigger.
Yes, indeed, and now I think with that team kill gong, there's going to be a desperation run towards the point, but I don't think anyone's going to make it there in time. The Sombra, the only one close enough, but unfortunately the Fist of Fury come out, and Palworld take a very convincing 2-0 here on Nepal. They just seem more comfortable, more confident, and they had the answers every single time for anything that Bliss Legion wanted to throw out. I mean, countering an EMP with Death Blossom, as you're seeing here in the play of the game, it's not something you see all the time, but it worked wonders.
Yeah, I mean, that was just so perfectly timed. You wait out that 3 seconds on the EMP, which is brutal, by the way. In Overwatch terms, 3 seconds, it could be an entire fight. But Izzy was just able to chill out and hit that Q button, or I guess it would be X or a triangle, I guess, but yeah, they're on PlayStation. Thanks, Headrammer. Yeah, but yeah, that was a great Death Blossom, better than the first one that we saw on Shrine. That was very, very easy to spot out. That's kind of the problem when you play Reaper, right? Death Blossom can be a really, really powerful ultimate, but it's such a feast or famine ult, right? If you Wraith right into the middle of the enemy team, they're going to be like, hey, this Reaper probably has Death Blossom. Let's get him out, right? So we saw on map 1 on Shrine where I think it was Hog on the Reaper Wraithed in, and Palworld was able to boop the Reaper out, get him out of the way, so the Death Blossom didn't really get anything. But where we saw Izzy's Death Blossom, it killed 2 and dealt significant damage to 4 or 5 people. Izzy's Death Blossom was not readable. Izzy pressed the ultimate button when Bliss Legion weren't expecting it, and you know, it was I think the name of that game was that Palworld just had better, more unpredictable ult usage.
Yeah, and that's always going to be a thing, right? You don't expect ultimates to be thrown out when you EMP. That's always going to be the go button. And again, it comes down to just how odd it is to play with Sombra, right? You really got to be in sync to get the maximum value out of that hero. But potentially heading over into our next map, Bliss Legion might want to swap it up, because King's Row, this is not a Sombra's play place. This is where you can bust out those standard rush compositions. I expect to see the Mei. I expect to see the Sojourn, especially when you had, you know, Inu just popping off, turning fights on their head single-handedly, and that's the value some of these crazy DPS players can provide, just turning a fight single-handedly with just the use of an ultimate. It's absolutely amazing to see, and it's something you gotta watch out for if you're the side of Bliss Legion.
Yeah, I mean, Palworld they knew what they wanted, right? It's gonna be up to Bliss Legion to try and take the tempo into their own hands, as we're going to see Bliss Legion come back out on the Ramatra comp. I'm interested to see, okay, something a little closer to traditional. The Sombra does not play, like you said, very well into that composition. So they're going
Yeah.
to rely on Hog to have the Genji lockdown. And Palworld, I can't imagine this is what... Oh, no, Izzy's going to switch over to
It's,
Sombra. I don't know if... I think
there's
Palworld might actually be coming out on this.
if they come out on this, it's going to be a very fast tempo dive, but without a Lucio, right? So you sort of question how exactly that works. Basically, it means that the Zenyatta and Honor are there to protect each other. You are going to see the Widow shot. It's a very common thing on King's Row, but Bliss Legion should be expecting this. And actually, the Widow does walk out of spawn here. So now Palworld's going to want to show the Sombra prowess, but again, making sure you're synced up is going to be the name of the game.
Here we go. Inu grapples up just a little bit wide left on the shot here. On fire is Inu right now. On the Ashe is Kill the Hog right now. So, you know, did go back to spawn after we called out the Genji pick. But, you know, I do like the Ashe a little bit this patch, especially because of the Dynamite. It's a lot of people that you can affect with that DPS passive. And you see it. They're under a lot of pressure by the Widow, by the Winston, and they're getting all shoved into this locker room that is the reception desk, and they're taking advantage of it on the side of Palworld, and the massive anti-grenade by Smelvin going to put the fight away.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Palworld has looming threats that slowly but surely are able to take space, right? You have the Winston to worry about directly in your face. You have the Sombra coming for your backline, as well as, you know, Discord orbs and antis to boot. There truly is so much space being created that eventually they're going to be corralled in such a way that Inu on this Widow can come up with the goods. And now you're seeing the swap over to a Cassidy. This is purely to counter the Sombra. This is just a disrespect thing. But Smelvin kills Sombra on the other side. That you can't let an Ana do that.
Yeah, that's a tragedy there to get Kill the Hog out of this fight early. I mean, I still don't know. I with this composition that Bliss Legion is on right now, I just don't know what the plan is. I can understand the counter switch on the Cassidy, but I mean, everything else just isn't working in tandem. It's a bunch of solo characters. And Bliss Legion, they get punished because of it. Inu, the only real solo character on the side of Palworld, and hitting some great shots is Izzy. And Inu continue to go to work, take down Diametricals, take down Cosmoer, and Izzy being a nuisance in the backline. Inu for 2, Izzy for 2.
And I almost wonder if, you know, you have to sort of lean one way or the other. You either have to rely on the team play around the Ramatra, make it work, or do exactly what Bliss Legion just did, swap it up. You see now Diametrical over to the Diva, giving a little bit more agency, allowing everyone to play more individualistic, and it's going to create such an interesting setup here. You're seeing the Diva just try to take these high grounds and hold them.
Here we go. Inu is trying to be held to nothing, and Diametricals is so low. And demeched, unfortunately, for Bliss Legion. EMP here for I Love Izzy, and the follow-up is perfect from Alpha. I mean, everybody is so low, and no translocator as Alpha clears up 3 people here as the push continues.
I mean, the only thing I can say against Palworld right now is there's points where they're just not having anybody on the cart, so it's not moving all that crazily fast. Granted, they're still sitting above a 4-minute time bank here, and the sound barrier in spawn.
Yeah, it's an aggro sound barrier. Very, very aggressive, but it's not going to mean much of anything as they know where the Sombra's at. And Peach with the Discord orb on the Sombra. Peach for 2. You see why people consider Zenyatta to be so strong right now. And Peach with 2 there, being a 3rd DPS. Not able to survive the entire fight, but I mean, it's not even gonna matter as the fade comes through from Axar, and the point is nearing completion here. Kill the Hog has to translocate to the mini to stay alive. The EMP hits 3, but it's a sacrificial ultimate here for Kill the Hog. The roll away is not going to mean much of anything as the 20-player kill streak comes through for Alpha. And I mean, this is just utter and complete dominance on the dive right now from Palworld, as it is just Kill the Hog and surely Pig Whip's coming very soon, but they cannot get there. And 3.5 minutes on the clock is insanity on Kings Row.
And what's crazy is it could have been even faster, right? It's not like Bliss Legion won some fights there in the defense. No, they really did get steamrolled pretty much for the entirety of it. It's just the fact that Palworld was almost playing with their food a little bit, you know? Oh, hey, let's all walk up to make sure we win this fight. Nobody will be on the cart. Or we'll just have one person push the cart slowly instead of trying to make sure we maximize our progress. But when you're playing with this level of coordination and confidence that Palworld is displaying, you're allowed to do things like that, you know? They're showing how powerful the Sombra can be when you're synced up, you know? People following up on those hack targets when they come through, when that damage comes through, and really, it's just putting Bliss Legion to shame right now. Bliss Legion, they've got to be able to sort of come up with some answer for what's happening to them, because right now it's already not looking good.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
On that dive, it kind of, I called out that Inu is really the only solo character on the team with the Widowmaker, and they're coming out on something truly inspirational here on the side of Palworld. But didn't it feel to you like Inu was following up on dives just as hard as Izzy was?
Yes, and that's the crazy thing. Everybody thinks of Widowmaker and they think of this headshot, machine, right? Which is cool when you can click the head because of the amount of damage. But if you're able to follow up on a hack and some damage from your Winston, body shots will work every single time. It's such a great thing. As you said, Palworld on this defense, I mean, this is playing with your food to a whole nother level. Whipping out the Roadhog here, as well as the Soldier 76. There's going to be a lot of poke and a lot of more individual plays coming through. Ooh. And that's the first one, hooking the Ana.
Yeah, Axar going down is not going to be very, very good. That is a significant portion of the healing for Bliss Legion gone. Cosmoer has to dash across the gap to escape Alpha's hook there as they wait Axar to return. Still, though, Axar the only casualty thus far. Bliss Legion stuck in this staircase. I mean, they're scared to leave. They know that Axar should be back soon, as the sleep is going to come through onto Alpha. Able to keep the Roadhog alive for now. No anti-grenade coming from Axar, as the Pigpen hook proving to be too much to keep Pig Whips alive. And right now, Palworld, they are well in the heads of Bliss Legion.
Yeah, I mean, they've got them corralled in this stairway for over a minute now. Finally, a massive punch comes through.
Yeah, the whip shot onto Smelvin and the cleanup from Diametricals. The Torb turret kind of being annoying, but, they're going to be able to take down Izzy. And just like that, I mean, in that staircase for so long, Palworld, they had time to think about what they wanted to do, I guess. And they did it. They did exactly what they wanted to do, and it looks like they're going to capture point A. Potentially, if somebody doesn't drop out of this high ground. And yeah, Diametricals is going to be able to get the kill onto the Soldier 76 on the height, and they're going to get the cap. This fight is not over yet, though. Okay, now they'll back out finally.
Yeah, they'll back out. They'll acknowledge, okay, maybe we played a little too much here. But yeah, you're seeing the value of the empowered punch from Doomfist, right? Stunning people up for just a little bit longer. It creates those openings, especially when the rest of your team is there ready to follow it up. Bliss Legion has the cart moving now, and Palworld is at not a good position, I must say, with this. But they do have the Alarial coming through the Sunstrike.
Okay, so I think that only hit Pig Whips, which is okay for Bliss Legion, especially if you can find a trade, but you just can't. Peach is able to find a second with a headshot onto Axar, as Diametricals has to use the Meteor Strike to get out, but look who's in the backline. It's Alpha, using up all of that that breather and able to take down Diametricals, and Palworld is, absolutely running it down in the spawn of Bliss Legion.
Yes, indeed, and they're doing it on this unorthodox composition. This is more than just, oh, we're doing it for fun. Oh, I see the hammer out. This is going to be the disrespect play, potentially trying to get a hammer kill onto somebody here. But Smelvin might get caught out.
They're ready for it, and Smelvin is going to get caught out. I think they hear the speed boost and the jump into the backline, as Izzy is also stuck in no man's land. This should be a fight win for Bliss Legion, though, as Smelvin did go down early, and they're finally able to take down Izzy in the backline. So Bliss Legion should be able to get this point going.
Yeah, but again, it's not like Palworld completely lost the fight, right? It's pretty much like one person got picked and then they're like, all right, we'll give up some space for now. But they're going to be able to come back in here super aggressively with quite a few ultimates to boot. You know, the Tac Visor and the Molten Core are going to be the biggest things I'd worry about.
The next fight is Diametricals. Gonna be able to get this punch in as the Whole Hog comes out from Alpha. The Nano Boost on to Pig Whips is going to prove a boon here. Can they find another? They do! The Nano Overclock continues to be one of the best ult combos this game has. And the sound barrier from Smelvin, despite the 2 picks that Pig Whips was able to get, you know, Palworld is still very, very much in this fight. With the death of Alpha, though, this needs to be a go button for Bliss Legion. They have 2 alive here, and excuse me, my God, Smelvin going down is not going to be a good thing here for Palworld.
Yes, indeed. And Palworld finally deciding, okay, let's take these guys a little bit more seriously. But it might be too late as this Visor's already taking the Widowmaker.
Yeah, and finally Palworld realizes, man, maybe we are not good enough to just kind of mess around here and take down Bliss Legion. As Bliss Legion, you know, they're still taking this very, very seriously, and now Palworld realizes, hey, maybe we should too. Going back to the comp that made them look so good in the first half on their attack. This Winston comp as Alpha is trying to stay alive to the best of their abilities, and Inu coming back on this Widowmaker is going to be able to pop Pig Whips. I'm not sure where they're playing from right now, but it doesn't really matter if Bliss Legion doesn't either. As the punch comes through, Diametricals is able to take down Smelvin. Punched a couple there, Alpha as well, but Alpha's going to be able to stay alive. There is Inu up on the height, and what a punch, and the EMP comes from Izzy, and it's going to hit 3 and spell death for Diametricals. Unfortunately, they're going to follow up great on the EMP, and they're not going to let this team get away with the Kitsune Rush.
I mean, the Kitsune Rush is just kind of the cherry on top of the cake, and they're chasing for even more here, but while looking for these staggers, we gotta talk about it again. Diametricals is not on the same page as the rest of this team. Just constant, you know, being able to go in there, sure, you would be able to get the Widowmaker, but your entire backline got EMP'd, and you were simply just taking too much damage here. Now with Diametricals dying, with only 10 seconds left on this clock, is anybody gonna get to cart?
I can tell you with certainty that it's not going to be Pig Whips. I don't know who will, if anyone. No, it's going to be nobody. So Palworld decides to tighten up the screws on the ship, and they take down Bliss Legion on King's Row. You know, a little trolling on the Roadhog composition there early on the defense that Bliss Legion was able to take great advantage of, but once they went over back to the Winston on the defense, it was wraps for Bliss Legion. They just knew what they wanted on the side of Palworld.
Yeah, and Palworld, they showed dominance with that composition, but, you know, we are able to see it right there at the end of the match. I was just talking about it. It comes back to Bliss Legion not being on the same page. You know, your Doomfist is going in, you're able to, you know, create space, zone the Widowmaker. That's cool, but not being able to acknowledge the rest of your team being EMP'd and being just jumped on behind you, it creates such a different atmosphere, you know? It puts the Doomfist in a situation where he can never really thrive because he's alone. And, you know, Bliss Legion, they've got to find a way to tighten that up if they want to have any chance to get back into this series.
Yeah, and, you know, they will need to tighten up as we go into map number 3. Unfortunately, we're going to cut it to a quick break, and when we come back, we will see if Bliss Legion can tighten it up. Can they get the things that they need to change going forward in this series? We will see, so stick around. You won't want to miss it. welcome back everybody. Right now, Palworld on a tear, up 2-0 over Bliss Legion, and the only time it seemed like Bliss Legion had an idea of what to do is when Palworld didn't. They were on some trolley comps like the Roadhog, and Bliss Legion was able to take advantage of those trolley compositions and make Palworld realize, hey, maybe we should take this seriously if we want to get out of here quickly. But moving forward into map number 3, we do know what it's going to be, and it's going to be New Queen Street. Not New Queen Street, New Junk City.
I was gonna say we're just not at push just yet, but yeah, there's a lot of new, and then there's 3 words, but hey, it is what it is. Heading into Flashpoint, of course, Flashpoint, it's still kind of a hotly contested game mode. Do you like what exactly is the best? It always seems to require a Lucio, right? Just because of how large the maps are, being able to get around super fast is going to be the name of the game. But I mean, so far both these teams, the only real rush variants we've seen has been the Ramatra. Sure, way back at the start of Nepal, we saw Bliss Legion showing off a little bit of that Orisa gameplay, but I'd be interested to see if either team wants to pull out the Junker Queen, try to make it work that way.
Yeah, I could definitely see it, but it seems like Palworld really has an idea of what they want to do on every map. We've seen 2 different distinct compositions, and on King's Row, that distinct composition you wouldn't really think is a Winston dive.
Yeah.
But especially when they ran the Ramatra so well on Nepal. So I'm interested to see if Palworld is going to have a different composition going into New Junk City, which I wouldn't be surprised just based on how strong Junker Queen is on New Junk City. I mean, the shout rush comp style that the Junker Queen, provides is such a powerful thing, right? Being able to get around these ginormous maps quickly and be able to provide the speed and the overhealth to your teammates is still such a strong ability. And so New Junk City it very well leans into that rush style comp, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised if they want to come back out on the ramp.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, all roads lead back to Ramatra. A lot of this Season 9 patch, everyone's like, guys, it could be this, it could be that, but as the meta slowly dialed itself in, everybody realizes all roads lead to Ramatra. It's just such a good hero, but as we do see, there are a little bit of substitutions. Kill the Hog moving on over to the support role, maybe leading a little bit more into the damage dealing side of things, and bringing in Bastion 10 on the DPS. And while Bastion would absolutely be awful here, I would love nothing more than to see a Bastion for the person named Bastion. It would fit so well. But both teams at least hovering the Queen for the moment. Super interesting. Depends on what's paired with them. You're seeing the Tracer and the Mei for Palworld. But Bliss Legion going to rock the Cassidy combined with the Sojourn here. It means that they have a little bit more of that poke pressure, a little bit more damage to deal. But Palworld with these Mei walls can be lethal in cutting people off.
All right, I'm just going to say right now, Palworld, they're on a good composition, but, they've said, hey, we can't troll with our compositions, but maybe we can troll with who's going to play the composition, because everybody's on something new here for Palworld. I think for Izzy, except for Izzy and Peach, as the wall comes out from Izzy, you see Alpha kind of skating on top of Axar's head and going to be able to take down the Kiriko, as Inu is very low HP, but not going to be able to follow it up on the side of Bliss Legion, and easily the first fight here on the side of Arena is going to go over to Palworld. They're going to be able to get Smelvin, but not much else.
Yeah, and Palworld, like you said, they decided to, instead of switching up to a funny composition, they switched up to just, different people on different roles, but they're still showing their teamwork and coordination, playing it super fast, playing the tempo nice and hot, and just being able to get in there, and you're seeing them wait for this Mei wall. Someone steps over, it's going to be over.
Yeah, they need to break the Mei wall fast to keep Diametricals up, but they just can't do it fast enough. Diametricals gets exploded, and I mean, now that the go button here, right? They're just waiting for this Junker Queen to die, as the Pulse Bomb's gonna come out, gonna go wide, but yeah, I mean, this might very well be, if Palworld can stay in the spawn of Bliss Legion, full capture here onto Arena.
Yeah, and Bliss Legion, they've made a little bit of a pivot. They're on to the Tracer themselves now, try to help Heal get a little bit into that backline here, but Yeah, I don't know. Palworld just seems to kind of have Bliss Legion's number right now. They're breathing down their throats, not even giving them a chance to move anywhere. But they do actually get a touch over to the point.
That said, it's a 3v2, right? Or 3v4 right now, not 3v2. What am I saying? I'm insane. I just woke up. Sorry. But yeah, having those two people being distracted in the spawn is just a death sentence for Bliss Legion. I mean, Smelvin wasn't able to get a pick, but it doesn't matter because Palworld capitalized on the fact that Bliss Legion were down two people.
Yeah, and now we're heading on over to the refinery here, and it's probably just going to be more of the same. Palworld, they've got such a good read on the game right now. They're all playing together. A second pulse bomb from Smelvin. This one's sticking onto Diametrical, and when you're sending the queen back to spawn over and over again like that, it's got to come off the back of your DPS, exactly like Pigwhips just showed, to try to get yourself back into this one mentally.
There we go. It's Bastion 10 that is in this fight right now alone. Inu knows where this Tracer's at as well. But Pigwhips is going to be able to find the pick onto Alpha, which is the first really big pick early in a fight that Bliss Legion has been able to find. But the Blizzard is big. Can they follow it up? They're going to use the Rampage. And Inu is going to be able to single-handedly switch this fight towards Palworld. Ant Matrix is going to come out to make sure that this fight goes their way. And I mean, Inu with a kill onto 4 people there.
And, well, don't get me wrong, Inu did kill a lot of people. Let's acknowledge Peach with a perfectly timed immortality field, as well as just the healing there to keep the Junker Queen alive while she did the damn thing. And so now you're seeing Smelvin with another Pulse Bomb in the spawn room, looking for another stick, potentially onto the other Tracer, but actually paying for their hubris.
Yeah, a lot of unchallenged stuff. Smelvin does not like the fact that, hey, you're not supposed to peel for your teammates. Get out of here. Rampage going to come out from Diametricals as well as the Overclock from Pigwhips. And Bastion 10 and Axar are going to follow it up. A well-timed ultimates there from Bliss Legion are going to lead it to the ultimate fight win here, as Izzy is not going to be able to get away. Diametricals with the snipe. They're finally going to find the flip.
And this is exactly what you want to see from Bliss Legion, right? Clearly in a match where they have been outmatched for the majority of it, instead of giving in, instead of saying, guys, we're washed, we're being beaten here, they're digging their heels in. They're not willing to go into the night without trying to make it work, right? And they're able to sync it together on that fight, but let's see if they can do it again here.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would have been a really, really good pulse bomb, Smelvin. But a little bit wide there as the Coalescence is the go button for Bliss Legion. Can they take down the Lucio? They can. XR up on the wall, going to be going down here. Smelvin is able to take down Pigwhips. But, I mean, yeah, Smelvin is all alone here doing everything that they can, but it's just not enough, as that might be last fight here for the refinery. The Tracer, or the Sombra and the Kiriko, and the Lucio joining the fight here late. They're going to be able to take down Bastion 10. Can they get the touch here, or is it even worth it?
Yeah, it's going to be a question. Yeah, the translocator just a tad too late here, and all of a sudden Bliss Legion, maybe getting Palworld a little bit off their rocker. Palworld starting to question exactly what they're doing. Sure, they might have this EMP heading to the next fight, but the Sombra is so odd to set up on such a large map.
Yeah, I mean, Alpha's going to be able to take down Kill the Hog here, so they're going to be down the Lucio speed. This should be an opening for Palworld to get to the next point. I'm not really sure which one it is. It looks like it's going to be Junkyard, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
We haven't seen an aerial shot just yet, but I love Izzy so low. Can they take down the Sojourn? They can. The point is unlocked. Someone is able to capture it, but neither team has, made their way over just yet.
Yeah, they're just kind of taking this back and forth war.
Bomb flats? Okay, bomb flats. All right. Izzy finally making the point known. They're going to be able to get the capture there for Palworld. Smelvin finds the pulse bomb. Smelvin finds a couple there, and Palworld is going to be able to take advantage of the disorderliness that both teams provided us with there.
Yes, indeed. Palworld reining it in a little, getting back in control with that fight win, and now they're setting up for this next one. This EMP should be massive, even if they need to combo it with either this Kitsune Rush or this Junker Queen Rampage, but it's going to be massive. Will Bliss Legion be able to counter?
Here's the EMP, it hits 3. Rampage follows from Inu, and yeah, I mean, they're not going to be able to do it for Bliss Legion. The Rampage is going to be good, and Bliss Legion, they might be out of a point here. I mean, at 75%, if a touch comes through, it's going to be rough.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what you're going to hope for, because if you can get a touch going, you have the Coalescence as well as your own Rampage to answer back here. Kill the Hog drop incredibly low.
Yeah, they're able to take down the Lucio here, and it's not going to be anything there. The same thing happens to Pig Whips that happened to Izzy on the last point translocator. Just a little bit too damn slow, and it will be Palworld taking bomb flats. And yeah, it does. It looks like they're going back across the map for the Duck.
Yeah, and Bliss Legion, they had some confidence when in that round they were able to take, but unfortunately they're, losing steam very quickly here, just being overwhelmed by Palworld now with a Kitsune.
Kitsune Rush out from Peach. Can they find something else here in this fight? And no, they cannot for Bliss Legion, but Palworld trying to put this map and series to an end. I mean, Bliss Legion right now, they cannot catch a break since they took their first point. Right now, they're just getting bowled over.
Yeah, but I mean, the one thing that seems interesting... Okay, there we go. Finally, someone's going to go over to cap. I was going to say, what happens if nobody ends up capping the point? Could the map just go on indefinitely? But Palworld has decided to put a timer on it. Now forcing Bliss Region to respawn, coming back in. They're on the Diva now, which means they're going to try to sync up a little bit better, get these dives going, and that's a great way to start with Pig Whips getting another pick.
Yeah, I mean, Smelvin going down is going to have to be the go button. Inu hacked up there by Pig Whips. Pig Whips hacked up in response. Izzy looking so good on the Sombra right now. The counter hack is insane. It's perfect, actually. And, I mean, they're able to take advantage of the fact that Smelvin went down, and they're going to roll with it for the side of Palworld. The Rampage comes out. Diametricals explodes. They get the flip for Bliss Legion as Smelvin letting them know that I'm the better tracer here, and Palworld continues to roll.
I mean, I would say it's toxic, but this is, console gameplay where it's at its most toxic. And sometimes when you win the Tracer duel, you just truly got to let them know. Smelvin coming up with another Pulse Bomb here really could put this one away as we're ticking already to 87%. It'll be a last-minute touch from somebody on the side of Bliss Legion.
They don't have much in the way of ultimates right now. It's all up to Pig Whips and the EMP. Okay, they built up to their ultimates. My bad. I was looking at it and they didn't really have much of anything, but Izzy's pull, the EMP was just too damn good. Like, once again, another incredible EMP from I Love Izzy, and it's going to be the one that puts the period on the series. Palworld gonna take down Bliss Legion 3-0, and it wasn't close. Palworld just had an idea of what they wanted for the entire series, and Bliss Legion could not keep up.
Yeah, and, you sort of kind of... There's just unfortunately not a lot else to be said. Bliss Legion, they're going to be sent back to the drawing board. It's just to figure out what went wrong. There was just a lack of synergy, whatever it may be on the day. But Palworld had their number, even starting out on those early maps, the dive comps and things of that nature. Just the synergy that they displayed, being able to follow up on the damage from the Sombra, as well as just kind of all being there for each other exactly when they needed every single time. It shows why Palworld is such a good team as they now move up to 2-1 here. And, that's always going to be big. You're worried about seeding, you're worried about it all at every single moment.
Yeah, I mean, Palworld right now, looking very, very strong in their group. I'm going to pull up the standings right now. Palworld obviously at 3-0. That is the wrong standings. That is the PCNA open tier. We're looking at the console EU open tier. Yeah, but Palworld obviously now sitting at 2-1, I think, actually.
Yes, 2-1. They were 1-1
Gonna move up
before.
a little bit in the standings. They are, sitting even with, they actually move up to the 3 seed in their group, passing up, they got Smelvin on their team. With that win, they pass up Smelvin Industries to move to the 3 seed in the 1 group. AFMT and Scum Squad still sitting pretty at 3-0 in that group. But Bliss, or not Bliss Legion, but Palworld look to be, a threat for those two teams in that group moving in to the tournament, the mid-season tournament, which is in 2 weeks, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's always looming, but again, just Bliss Legion, they got to go back to the drawing board. They got to figure something out because it's not over just yet. You still have time to recoup and figure some stuff out. But yeah, Palworld looking like a very scary threat. If they can keep firing on all cylinders like this, maybe remove a little bit of the trolling. Maybe we don't need the hog composition every now and then. But otherwise, Palworld, they're definitely going to be someone that you want to watch out for because any team in these open tier brackets, right? Any team can be a threat on the day. So it's something you got to be worried about.
Yeah, and unfortunately, once again, 3-0 for you, Megalas. But a 3-0 here. This will end our series for tonight. I think we do have another NA match later this evening. No, we don't have an NA match. We have some games tomorrow, potentially. We have a match in NA tomorrow at the very least, but that'll do it for us here in this EU broadcast. Palworld taking down Bliss Legion very convincingly, 3-0. Do you have anything else to say before we head off?
No, I just want to give a big shout out to, of course, our production behind the scenes, making everything run whenever we stream these games. It's super, super fun. You got to remember we are all volunteers here, at least until we hit those tournaments. So it is super appreciated to get as many games possible. But it's a beautiful way to start winding down week 3 because, week 4 we're going to have a whole new map pool. Everything's going to be crazy and great.
Yeah, should be awesome moving forward into this tournament. I'm really excited for the mid-season tournament. Because not to try and trash on any of the teams that we've seen play, but I mean the matchup between these higher tier teams, right, especially as the tournament goes on, should lead to some closer, more interesting games. And I mean that's just how it is.
I don't want.
Yeah. I mean Megalas has been cursed with 3-0s. I mean, how many is that now? 7? 8 now?
Fun. So it's 1-6 overall. I did get a 3-1 the other day.
Hey, that's pretty
casting.
good. That's
but
pretty good.
Yeah, higher quality games are coming soon, and I cannot wait any longer for them to arrive.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Moving forward, yeah, that's gonna do it for us tonight. So thank you all for watching, and congrats to Palworld for moving up in the standings. And thank you to Headrammer, Orange, and everybody that helped out. So yeah, that'll do it for us tonight. Good night, everyone.